South Park games for the last couple of years have really hit the nail on the head. Stick of Truth really did something special with the mix of turn-based RPG, and then Fractured But Whole pushed that to another level. Both were clear successes, but with success comes more, and it has now been a while since we have seen anything about the next South Park game. However, it has been confirmed in this teaser.
Hot, 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 hot! Ah! Oh, it's coming!
It looks like we'll be seeing a lot more of the South Park game in August with the THQ Nordic event, so let's kind of predict what will be next for the South Park games. We'll look at what should be next for the South Park games. At the moment, it feels like South Park can't step outside its genre due to its massive success, this being weirdly turn-based RPGs. These games have worked so well that I can't imagine South Park in another genre. Even though I do think South Park should make another game in the turn-based game genre, the next game should step outside its comfort zone, even though it will be very painful. It needs something a bit more imaginative. South Park teaming up with THQ Nordic is not a coincidence. I would say the game will either be a Doom-like South Park game taking inspiration from one of the original South Park games, I think on the PS1 era. Look at this, it's not good. Or it goes down a SpongeBob route with more collectible platforming. South Park has unfinished business in the first person market, and I think looking at first person shooters today, it could possibly work with the very bad game they released way back in 1999, a game that some may call the hippie of the South Park universe.
Goddamn hippie!
Feels like due to that, South Park creators will want to revisit and fix the past. I know I said they need to step outside its comfort zone and go into something new, but going back to its past is technically stepping outside its comfort zone.
Whatever, I do what I want.
A first-person shooter, as many different comedy shooters have been coming out of the woodwork lately, and South Park's golden combination of comedy with first-person shooters could be, well, golden. South Park in their two games have used episodes of South Park to kind of create a world in the game, with Lord of My Rings. Oh, no, that's for my precious collection. And then they used the Coon and Friends episode being the inspiration for Fractured But Whole. Side note, how has South Park not took fire at this? Also this.
No longer go around.
There's so many. Finally, my favourite one, this.
Surprised to see me?
Now that we've got the concept out of the way, let's look at the dirty details and how this South Park game can be blended into this South Park universe. In the South Park universe, there's still a lot of different concepts they can use. I see a lot of mention of Imagination Land, but it feels like that would be a copyright disaster, and if you look at what South Park are currently going through, that might be the best idea. In South Park, we kind of got some space teasers and have seen a lot of different space-like episodes in South Park, like the first episode and also the remake of that first episode. This space theme can also go back to Doom, as most of that is set in a spacious kind of area and a Mars-ish kind of area. Also with episodes like Cartman wanting to go to space, it could make a lot of sense in that aspect if they were going that first-person 3D kind of route. Imagine the game being set in South Park's hell. We go up against Satan, see Kenny in there, and meet God, with so many possible references. It feels like the main focus should be well on South Park or its hometown, what I can't remember off the top of my head. It would be very weird if a South Park game is mostly out of its little quiet mountain town. Making it feel like a whole game set in space would be pretty weird and wouldn't really work. What if I told you there could be a loophole to this? What would connect to the imagination? With cardboard around the houses and bushes, kind of like this. What works as a way to get around is going to different areas in South Park but still making it feel like space-ish. This also has similarities to the Coon and Friends base and all the Lord of My Rings. Oh no, that's the wrong copy again. In Stick of Truth, it had that kind of design where they had that sort of base and other places what look kind of handmade by the kids. And if you're going to probe the original episode though, it could follow a kind of normal episode of South Park but develop into a full-blown job of a game. Holy fucking shitballs, that's it, that's the name. South Park 3D, the full-blown job. Come on, that's good. I'll wait 10 seconds so you can just take that in and laugh. If we can't use the first episode of Space or Imagination Land, what the hell should the next game be? Well, all of it. Obviously not all 317 episodes smashed crammed into one Lord of the Ring. Instead, some of the biggest episodes through the 25 years in the eyes of an obviously new kid, because no matter what, we need to play as that new kid. Jokes like that never get old, and it feels like they have only scratched the surface of that joke, and they can pull it off now in 3D. We have a boss fight with Man Bear Pig, Satan, multiple Randys, Cupid Me, a massive Mr. Poopy, a new take on the Great Mighty Pooh. There is so many possibilities through episodes for some good references with a mix with boss fights, and we get some original stuff like the fart powers. There really is so much they can do with these possible references to the South Park series within a game still. The one worry I do have about this game is going from that perfect 2D style into a possibly 3D style. If we look back at the original 3D game, it didn't look very good. For some reason I have this image burnt into my brain, but obviously that was back in the 1990s on the PlayStation 1, I think. It does, however, make me feel a little sick, and I just can't imagine these basically paper-like beings becoming 3D again, and that is my biggest worry. If we look at the past two games, or even the little mobile game, they're all significantly 2D. That doesn't mean it's not possible. South Park has easily become one of the best cartoons out there, and if we dive deep into our backlog, we can see that 2D cartoon-like things have become 3D pretty easily. Even though Simpsons and Family Guy weren't made out of paper, their 3D games were pretty decent. If Family Guy can do it, South Park definitely can pull it off. That is the Barbra Streisand in the room. How are they going to make this famously 2D paper-like cartoon into a 3D game? There's obviously a lot of different ways they can do it. They can just make a good style realistically. They could also go down the weird trending 3D pixel route, but that's very unlikely. I don't see South Park's coat of paint being pixelated. I do think whatever we do see will be great, because that's just what South Park do. The passion behind that series, the games. There's no doubt the new game will look like a polished turd, but obviously the award-winning kind of turd. The hot kind, like this.
Hot, 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 hot.
Now, with the gameplay and the concept of the way, it's finally time to talk about the story and what can be used from that South Park universe into this South Park game. Now we've looked at all the different concepts, possibilities, what a South Park game could be, let's get down to the story. One of my favourite parts of any video is talking about the story of a possible game. It feels like after the two massive successful games, we need to play as a new kid. It needs to start with Cartman asking our name and calling us a name of sorts, what can't be mentioned on this channel, because that is just funny. Instead of a new universe type thing like Lord of the Rings and Heroes, we play Heroes again, and in the middle of a massive fight like Civil War, like on the whiteboard from the Hero game, where it had all of the future plans for Coon and Friends franchise, in the midst of the carnage, we get a cinematic of Cartman hitting something and causing a vortex, what the new kid falls through, then puts it in a sort of alternate universe where all kinds of kids are dressed up in different things. We get cowboys, we get superheroes, we get space stuff, we get ninjas, we get angels, we get demons, and also so much more. Even though the multiverse has been done to death, I do think South Park can still pull off a decent looking story within a game with it, and it gives us the possibility of fighting so many different variants of different characters. We get loads of different fights with Cartman, we get Awesome-O, we get Ginger Cartman, we get, I can't think of any other Cartmans, but there's so many other overarching villains. We could get anything from some sort of weird Cartman thing to a giant zombie. We also get like the versions of Cartman, Kenny, Kyle and other characters through the game trying to get back to their own world. There are so many possibilities to bring together, so many different episodes and story elements. It's just loads of different possibilities, including how many different enemies you could possibly fight. The characters who kind of know what is going on, kind of used to push the story forward, like in other games. Like in one of the missions, we could finally go over that wall to Canada and fight Canadian Satan, get sucked into the mobile game. We also have to take the piddle at the UK. I really want to fight a dual-wielding custard Harry in the royal wedding. Try saying that 5 times fast. If I'm having these ideas somewhere in a basement, wherever this game is being made, they have to be having similar ideas, right? This all takes inspiration from the decent mobile game called Phone Destroyers, I think it was called. Obviously that game grew this concept and story to a different scale, but all these questions will be possibly answered in the upcoming August THQ event. And that's it for this video. What do you want from a next South Park game? Do you want a first person shooter? Do you want a platformer? Do you want a 3D platformer? Do you want another turn-based RPG? Or something completely different? Comment below and make sure to like and subscribe for future mumbles.